Have you ever wanted to wear witchcraft in your hair? Oh my god. Definitely wasn't the opening that I thought I was gonna do, but anyway, it's been a while since I've done one of my witchcrafting videos where I do a craft related to witchcraft. But I wanted to try something. I have a craft in mind that I wanted to do that is witchcraft based, but I never attempted it the way I'm thinking about it, so this is either gonna be like a fail video, because witchcraft isn't always 100%, you know. I'd rather be honest if it doesn't work out. Or it'll work and you'll have a witchcraft related hairpiece to those of you who have long hair. If not, you guys could incorporate this to use in other ways. I'm using this for my hair. And the example one is going to be for like grounding, like keeping your energy to yourself, especially if you're around people who kind of like suck the life out of you, like those wonderful energy vampires, because they are everywhere. And in certain situations like work or anything else like that where you can't get away from them, or just people that you run into randomly for whatever reason, or some days when you're kind of like low energy and sometimes you give your energy to others more freely while also kind of keeping you grounded. That is the basis of this spell. And hair accessory. Ooh. Now, this doesn't have to be made into a hair accessory if you don't want it to be. This could be just made into a simple little talisman or a little charm that you keep in your wallet or in your pocket. Or you can make it into a patch and button and put it on your clothes. I love to do things to my hair. I think it's kind of obvious. Normally what I do is, I normally do like so many trinkets and accessories in my hair, but past year I haven't really been doing that. Depression. But like the only thing that I do with my hair like recently is normally if I'm going to be doing like a bigger spell working or if I'm going to be around like a big crowd of people, I'll just do a little tiny braid like in the back of my hair just so it's kind of like hidden. That way I'm keeping my energy close to me. There's a lot of magic and energy in hair. You know what I mean? And I feel like we sometimes forget that. Your hair can be used as a glamour, as a shield, or it could be comforting like a blanket. Doesn't matter how long or short it is. I had mentioned it in my cemetery, graveyard, and dirt and witchcraft video that a lot of people believe that the biggest portal on the human body is located actually on the head. And it's located like on the back of your neck, like this nerve ring that's like right here. I don't know if you could like see it. I have too much hair to lift up. But a lot of people believe that that is the biggest portal on the human body. So a lot of people put waters and oils on the back of their neck. Or some people put it in their hair since it covers it. Now, this is a spur-of-the-moment video. Last night, I literally had finished filming my herbal astrology video. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work out for like the hair accessory part of it. So I'm going to take you to my living room and see what I got, and then I'm going to explain what I'm going to be doing. All right, this isn't going to be an aesthetically pleasing shot. I'm on my floor, so I have more room. But what I want to do is I have so many things to make hair accessories. Now, I love making my own hair accessories, and a few examples of them would be, like I've made some crystal wrapped barrettes. I've made my own crystal crowns with like moss. This one I had stuff on top of, so the main crystal came out, and then one of the quartz on the side came out, so I gotta fix that, but that was my fault. Headpiece crowns that I've made. I have Luna moth wings in, so I don't want to mess that up. And here's like another one I've made. But what I want to do is I want to make sigil hair barrettes or hairpins. And if you've seen the other videos of my home, you know my home is covered in ivy, and ivy has a lot of magical benefits. For protection, it's for boundaries, it's for a safe space. Ivy has deep roots, but yet it always goes skyward, like as above, so below. It's like a perfect balance plant, at least in my opinion. So I had some extra bits that I found with my craft stuff. So I want to, Kitty was laying on these, so there might be some cat fur on them. But what I want to do is I want to add these to bobby pins, but what I'm going to be doing to be crafting a sigil, and we're going to cut it out to make it more sturdy and put it in the middle of each ivy piece and anointing it with some oils for our correspondences. Then, if that doesn't work out, or if it does, the other thing that I want to do is I want to make some protective hair wraps with some knot magic and add some trinkets and charms. That way I could just easily stick them in my hair for the days that I want to dress up my hair, but I have no energy to do so. Because that's my goal for this year. Once, you know, I'm not working more than not, I want to have the time to do all my funky hairstyles, put on all my hair trinkets and everything else. So I grabbed my pieces of ivy that I'm going to be working with. You could use, if you have anything artificial that you want to use that resembles something. I never really had good luck using actual dried plants and herbs unless they were in resin, and that's just not something that I normally do. But I grabbed these. I have a really old thing of bobby pins. You can't even see it because the whole case is so messed up. I have embroidery thread because that's normally what I do for my hair wraps. I have sandpaper so I could rough up the barrettes a little bit. I was going to use the same sandpaper that I use for my hula hoops, but I rather just keep that for my hula hoops because if you don't know, I do hula hoop dance, I do flow dance. So I sand the inside of my hoops that way when I wear like silky clothes, like the velvet bell bottoms that I'm wearing today. The hoop has more grip on my clothes, so I sand the inside of my hoops. I have a thin little piece of cardboard. I also have a glue gun and some Mod Podge, but I'm lazy. I don't feel like waiting, so I'm probably going to use the glue gun. This would work better if you have like the number glue. I can't remember the name of it, but I don't have any of that. All right, let's start doing the witchcraft stuff, okay? All right, so I wrote everything out real quick. But I'm probably going to put up a screenshot afterwards just because my handwriting is messy because I did this super quick. But for working with ivy, because ivy is about boundaries, right? It's about protecting, keeping your energy close, like kind of like binding your energy to yourself. It's ruled by Saturn. So if you haven't seen my herbal astrology video, you know, that might not make too much sense to you. So you could go check that out. I'll link it up here somewhere. But if you already have seen it, then you already know what I mean. And you understand why this is ruled by Saturn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be creating a sigil to put on the inside of the ivy pieces. So what I'm going to do is I have the front and the back of the ivy pieces. I'm going to take a piece of cardboard with the sigil on it. I'm going to anoint it in some oil, either put some crushed up cedar in there or run it through the smoke of cedar. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to sandwich the little sigil in between the two pieces of ivy after it's been anointed and blessed, and then attach it to a bobby pin. That way I could wear these. I know it's so silly, but it's so simple, but like they're going to be so cute, right? But since I'm working with Saturn, I'm going to use the planetary square of Saturn. And if you're unsure what I'm talking about, I'll sit in front of my little fairy house for a second, or my fairy door. I'll put like little grids up on screen. So each planet of the traditional planets all have planetary grids. Most people are familiar with the grid of Saturn. Saturn stands for protection, and its grid's numbers is 1 through 9. Now, most people are familiar with like the witch's wheel and making sigils that way, and you write out the alphabet in like rows of 9 and you go through that way. There's no actual proof of this, but I really think it's because of Saturn, because Saturn is the planet of protection, and most people, when they're making sigils, most, definitely not all, but it's for some type of protection. At least when you're starting to make sigils, that's like normally the first thing that people go to, so this might be ringing a bell. So I drew out what I meant by that. You could read my handwriting. So this is the planetary grid of Saturn. I wrote out the alphabet, 1 through 9. That way I have something for each square. Now, some people may format this different if they're working with a different planet that has, more than 9. Some people just leave it at the 9. Some people just draw their own. You could do your own intuitively if that's what you want. There's a lot that goes into sigils. I'm just keeping it simple for the sake of this video. But I went through and I made like a basic one that we could do that way. If you wanted to use this same sigil, you can. If you want to make your own, you can. I just figured I would make a nice easy one for you in case you're like, oh, I don't know exactly what to do, because you could even write it as a petition paper. You know what I mean? Sigils normally work best once they're lodged in the subconscious or through their destruction, right? This one we're not going to be destroying. However, we're going to be putting it in the dark since it's going to be between the two pieces of ivy, but that way we no longer see the sigil. We're covering it up, and that way it gets lodged in our subconscious. Especially if you make this into a hairpiece, it's closer to your mind. Like transference. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully you know what I mean. But the basic phrase that I went to make the sigil was, my energy stays with me and is protected. That way you don't have to worry about losing your energy if you're around certain people or those low energy days or anything else like that. This is like one of those spells that you could kind of like pre-charge, and so no one could take your piece. So again, I kept this very basic since this isn't going to be a video about sigils. But what I did was I crossed out each vowel, and then afterwards I crossed out every repeating letter. So I was only left with a few words left, or letters left. And those letters that were left were M, Y, You can't really see them, they're crossed out right there, but I'll pop them up on screen. And then I traced it on the grid of Saturn, and then this is the sigil that I ended up making. Now, if you want to use the sigil, you can. It's a lot of triangles, which comes out perfect because triangles are great for protection. Sorry, Kitty's making an appearance and she's going through all my stuff. Sorry, I got distracted by Kitty. But if this is a bit too complicated for you to draw, you can make your own if you want. You could draw a picture. You could write it as a petition paper. I also have another sigil that's great for protection. That's very basic. It's also triangles. But if you want to use that, this was a crudely drawn version of it, but it looks like this. The triangles are just a little bit longer, but I, didn't give myself enough room. But it is also 2 triangles if you wanted to use that one for protection as well. What I'm going to do now is, with my little piece of cardboard, I'm going to cut out a shape that's just a little bit smaller than my ivy leaves. And then I'm going to put my sigil on my piece of paper. And then I'm going to anoint it with some oils. So I traced out the shape of my ivy leaf, and I'm going to cut it smaller than that. So I cut it out in like this shape. It kind of looks like a house. I just took nail polish off my nails, so they look weird. But it kind of looks like a little house, doesn't it? So I have my little sigil on my little piece of cardboard. And the oil that I'm using is, I already have this oil blend. It is called Earthly Roots. And this just smells like the earth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little on my fingers. Sorry, I did that 9 times because of Saturn. There's still just a little bit amount on the tips of my fingers. I'm going to clap to activate it and wake up the oils. And I'm going to rub it all over the sigil. I'm going to trace the pattern with my finger. Oh, it's already getting shiny. I'm going to trace the pattern with my finger while thinking of my intent as I rub the oil into it. And chanting, my energy stays with me and is protected. Cover that nice and good. Change color. I want to connect to it, so I'm going to put the extra oils on myself. So I'm going to connect with the spell. I'm going to put the oil on the ivy leaves too. However, I'm going to be doing that after I glue it. I'm going to run this through the smoke of ivy so it gets more imbued with the essence of the plant, since I'm using an artificial version of it. What I think I might do is, I have this bent bobby pin. It's just a regular bobby pin, because originally I was going to glue everything to the flat side of the bobby pin. But since this one is bent and won't work as a normal bobby pin, but it's bent perfectly for a hairpin that could just stick in, what I'm going to do is, what I think is, I'm going to be doing it this way on the top of the bobby pin with an ivy leaf in the back and then an ivy leaf in the front. Then it also makes it sturdier too with the cardboard or paper, whatever you're going to use in the middle. And that way I could just stick it in that way. I think that's what I'm going to do. Only if there's something in my hair, there's something on it, or there's something in it. Plus, you don't even have to use these for witchcraft. You could just make them and they'll be cute. All I'm going to do with the sandpaper is I'm just going to rough up the bobby pin a little bit. That way the glue sticks to it a little bit better, because otherwise it's just smooth metal, and then hot glue is smooth, so it could just peel right off. So I'm just going to rough that up just a little bit, just so the glue sticks a little bit better, since I don't have jewelry glue. I'm just going to take my sandpaper. I don't know how well you can see that, but see how it's discolored? So there's a little bit more for something to grip on. If I had any clear nail polish left, I would have just done like rough nail polish onto it, but I don't have any. So I did 2 more personal ones. So I'm only going to show this side, but I'm going to put sigils on the front and the back. So I'm going to be making 3 in total. So I'm going to just do that real quick. And since those sigils are different and those ones are going to be personal for me, I'm going to associate them with something different, though I'm still going to put them in the ivy leaves. But I'm going to do that part off camera just because that is my own personal thing. So I'll be right back. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue our sigil to the back of one of the ivy leaves. I'm going to be gluing it, well, I should say to the inside of it. That way the front of it is showing. But this one is going to be our back leaf. So I'm just going to hot glue this to itself real quick. I'm going to do probably all around it, and then afterwards I'm going to glue the bobby pin in the middle and then glue the other leaf on top. No, I actually got inspired to do this because I don't think I've ever talked about it on here, but I am writing a book. Now, this isn't witchcraft based. I've actually been working on this book for, oh gosh, on and off for about 5 years now. I'm pretty sure. It isn't, like I said, witchcraft based, but it does have a lot to do with folklore, and it has to do specifically with fae and fae folklore. So it's going to be fiction, but the problem is, like, I wish I got it done when I started writing it, because now there are so many books about the fae that are out that are like fiction or young adults. Theirs isn't exactly the style that I'm going for, because mine has to do, well, I don't want to give out too much of the plot, but there is obviously some love and stuff like that and relationships that are in there, but that's not the premise of the story. So, but everything that I'm adding in the book is going to be real folklore. And it does have to do with like the Seelie and the Unseelie court. But I feel like there's so many books about it now, so I should have wrote it when I like finished writing it. The only thing is, this is what we have so far. And now I'm going to glue the bobby pin in. This is the back. The only thing is, I haven't edited a single thing about it at all. And that could either be the downfall or that could be a blessing in disguise. I literally write from my mind and then I put it down and then I pick it up the next time. And then I kind of just go back, read a few sentences. I'm just going to slather this thing in hot glue and then put the top piece on. I'm just going around it. I just don't want it to be too much of the glue seeping through. Sorry, I'm so ADD in this right now. I'm so sorry. But I'll reread like the last few sentences on like where I was, but then I won't read anything else. Like I won't go back to the beginning. I won't edit anything. And then I'll just go back and keep writing. From that angle, you couldn't even see. And the sigil is in the middle. But the premise of the story that I am writing has to do with like a modernized version of like what a fairy tale would be. I have no idea if this sounds interesting or if you guys even care, like what I do in my spare time. But I've been being called to write again, and I've been wanting to write. But that means if I write, I won't be able to make a lot of videos. And I am about like 3 pages, like 3 chapters from like the climax main part of the story. And I have so many ideas on how I want it to go. But again, since I don't edit anything, I don't have any beta readers or anything like that, it makes it hard, especially because it hasn't been edited. But I had an idea for my story, and I was just trying to think of like traditional outfits, like basic outfits for like background characters. Obviously, they're all very nature-based, so they're gonna have nature things. And I was like, oh man, I need to make more nature-based headpieces. And that's how I got into like, oh, I'm gonna make some sigil-based hair pieces. So this is where we are right now. But we have our leaf. This is the one on the bent bobby pin. Like, obviously, you could trim it afterwards since the leaves aren't exactly mirrored. They're as close as they can be. But we have a little sigil for protection in here. And no one will ever know. Everyone is just going to think it's like a cute hairpiece. Well, does it look cute? I can't see. But the car outside beeps, so I'm going to say that as a yes. Now, what I'm going to do is I have regular bobby pins. So in case you don't want to open up your bobby pins and bend them, I stuck them on a piece of cardboard. I sanded the top bits. Oh my gosh, my thumb is twitching. Sorry. That's why they look white. That way the glue will stick better. And I'm going to do the same exact thing, except since those sigils are private, I'm just going to glue them off camera, but I'm going to make the leaves separate, and then I'm just going to attach the leaves. If you don't want to make this into a hair charm, like I said, you can just do the cardboard with the leaf and, you know, keep this in your pocket. You could use a hole puncher for where the cardboard is, and then if you want afterwards, cover it in like a sealant or a Mod Podge and keep that as a charm. Put it on like your keychain, or put it on, make a hole punch and put it for your shoelaces, so you can make like little ivy things. That's the stuff that I do. I don't know if this interests any of you guys. So let me just make these leaves ones real quick. But like I was saying for my book, I don't think that there are many, I could be wrong, so please tell me if I am wrong, but I don't feel like, at least, that there's a lot of like modern fairy tale books where it is all strictly folklore, but a modern take on how that folklore would apply to the world now. Because I know a lot of them, you know, they have the basic folklore in there, but, you know, fairies and elemental spirits and beings and all this stuff and all these creatures who have been around for for thousands of years, according to some belief, in centuries to others, or the start of the world in other beliefs, because the beliefs are so vast, but how they would act in modern times and how that old school folklore would hold up till now. So I don't have my hair in anything, so this is just falling out. I gotta put it up in something so I can stick those in there. But I also don't know if that's going to be interesting to anybody, because I don't want to give away too much of the story just in case, because eventually I would love to be able to get it published. I know it's hell to go to do it yourself and self-publish, but you know, I can't see any other way to do it, because it costs a lot of money to have people look into your book and everything else. And I don't want to be like, oh, it's definitely going to get picked up by a publisher, because, you know, I could try and manifest it, but I also want to do that like on my own. You know, I don't want to use witchcraft in any aspect of that. Like, if it does good, I want it to do good because of me, you know, not because of my influence on anything, if that makes any sense. That probably just sounded so egotistical. I didn't mean it in that way, but, you know, this is a witchcraft based channel, so you're probably like, well, why don't you just push it along? I want to do that on my own. Again, echoing that sentiment, I'm really excited, and out of nowhere, I've been bombarded by ideas, but I haven't had the time to implement them, because I'll get the ideas when I'm in the middle of work, and I won't be able to write them down or voice memo them to myself or anything else, and then like I'll kind of remember them afterwards, and it sucks. But let me know what you guys think. If a modern day fairy tale set in with the old school folklore and how those fairies would behave now, with, you know, definitely other factors put in, but if that even sounds remotely interesting, because like I said, I want to get back into it. All right, here are our little double-sided leaves. That glare is terrible. And they have the little cardboard piece with the sigil in there. And now all I'm going to do is, like I said, you could keep these as is and keep them as little pocket charms, and then afterwards just leave it and put the oil on them, or run it through smoke of the herb of your choice and then recharge them. Or, like I said, you can do hole punches, make it into a keychain, make it into like a necklace. I'm putting them on barrettes because I like hair stuff. So I'm just going to glue them to the flat side of the barrette. And with the cardboard in there, it definitely helps make it more sturdy, especially since I roughed up the bobby pins because I'm using hot glue. That way it just won't easily come off. And then I have them on this. I'm probably going to smush it down here more, but that way I don't glue the bobby pins together. I have them on a little piece of cardboard. I'm going to be honest, that sucked gluing it like that. I think I'm going to bend open the other bobby pin and just do them bent. That way if I have braids or my hair is up in a ponytail, I can just stick them on in, because it just feels like there's not enough surface area and it just doesn't look pretty on the back. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the other bobby pin. Oh, you can do it with pliers. I'm going to use my fingers, you know, because I'm a barbarian. Ta-da! Alright, so through trial and error, I find that it's better if you open up the bobby pins and glue them on sideways versus them flat. And I told you it was going to be trial and error. So I made a little pocket very carefully. And all I'm going to do is just load that up with hot glue. Ta-da! We salvaged it. We still made one normal one, but I'm going to be honest, this was a pain in the butt to glue. Trial and error. Bend the bobby pins and do them sideways. I think they look cuter that way. But that's just me. Boom. Little sigil tokens. Now, the other hairpiece I'm going to try and make is taking me back to high school days, man. If you couldn't tell, I was a creepy kid in high school. Never was a phase. In middle school. And my whole life. So for the next one that I'm doing, I'm going to use a barrette for this, I think. Instead of like one of the other hair clips. I'm just going to use one of these snappy barrettes. And I'm going to use some yarn. I have green and purple. But through the inside of the barrette, you see how the barrette sticks up like this? I'm going to have the yarn that I folded in half. I'm going to stick it through like that, so it's like a loop. And then I'm going to pull the rest of it through that loop. Boom, just like that, so it's attached. See? That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same with the purple ones. I'm going to make it even. Well, actually, it could be a little bit uneven, but do the same exact thing. Doing the little loop through the top. Reaching through the loop. Pulling the yarn through and then tightening it. Now, I'm going to fluff up these pieces of yarn, and I have one of Kitty's brushes that she did not like. Now, granted, these has like little nibbies on the top, but this works best with one of these like steel brushes. This is hard with like the nibbies. Can you see how it's already getting fluffy? But this is a pain in the butt with this brush. This is going to take forever. I'm not going to make you guys sit through this. You're just going to see the final result if it works or not with me trying to fluff these up. So what I did, I don't want it to look like dreads. I want it to look like moss. I just went to like poof it up a little bit to make this look like moss as much as I can make it look like moss. And this, I just want it to be like wispy magical bits. And like I said, I don't want it to look like dready. But like, these are the two pieces that I have for it right now. And I'm either going to, I don't know if I want to add in the other fabric that I have and braid it, but braid it like really chunky. So all the colors are in there. And then like weave little bits or like randomly wire wrap it with little bits. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. I don't know. I also kind of like it just like this, but I can't see what it looks like. All right. Let's add in the other piece and see what it looks like. All right. So these are all 3 pieces together from all those pieces of yarn that I had. These I roughed up. This is just the normal bit. So I'm kind of debating how they would look like braided together with like a little wrap and then adding the charms in. So I'm going to try that real quick and see how that looks. All right, I just finished braiding it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Try to make it messy because I want this to be messy forest creature looking thing. This would have to definitely go like underneath here. Oh, this is so hard. This viewfinder is so tiny. How does it look? Should we keep it braided? So I could always make separate ones with the string. All right, I'm going to keep this one braided for right now. And let's do a little knot magic. All right, since I'm keeping the braid, I'm going to add some beads and charms down the braid before I, you know, do the wire wrapping. And this is how I add beads to my hair or trinkets to my hair. I normally use a twist tie, but I have wire that's right here. I use a twist tie, but I'll bend it in half. Make sure like it's as tight as possible. But so it looks like this is a loop on one end. You know, it can bend open and then this side is straight. What I do is I take it. If this is my piece of hair, I put it in between. So it's like this. And then whatever trinket I'm putting in my hair, I just put on the ends. Put this tighter for this bead. Hopefully it fits. This yarn is kind of whatever. And then you just pull it through. I have to be careful because this is yarn and not hair. It's easier with hair, but yeah. Well, since I'm holding it up, I'm losing track of where I am. You just pull it through. If you have hair, you could literally just pull it from the end. But since this is yarn and all different fuzzy bits, and then afterwards, you just open it up a little bit more and then just take the hair out. Quickest way to add beads to your hair or trinkets, like if you found seashells or anything else like that and you want to add it to your hair, it's the easiest way to do that. So I'm just gonna leave that bead out and then put the rest of the braid. Oh, I gotta like lay down to do this since it's not like attached to anything. You see how the bead's in the braid now? And I'm gonna add some more trinkets like that before I add in the wrap. I had this attached to my pants, but to do it on an angle where you could see, I can't really do that. I'm gonna have to do the green again too because I want like there to be a space, but now I want to put like a crystal, add in this for like a pop of a different color. I just don't like gold. That's why I haven't done anything with this. Or the green would like match it better, but I don't know. I kind of like the red. Yeah, I kind of like the red. So I'm going to do the same thing. I know, I'm sorry, this is like the worst angle. Take my bent, and like I said, I normally use a zip tie. This is just a little piece of metal, of a wire. Lift up the hair or the yarn or the fabric, whatever you're doing, so it rests. Can't do it with a bobby pin though. Bobby pin is not as flexible. Stick it at the end, squeeze the wire shut so you could fit the top over it and pull through. And this I have to pull gently through by hand instead of just pulling all the way through because this is yarn, not human hair. And then just open it and remove. So this is what it's looking like so far. Alright, so I finished braiding it. added a little bead. It keeps twisting because I'm holding it up. Here's the crystal, because the weight of the crystal. And then I added in one of the plastic fern bits. So this is the vibe that I'm going for. Like things found off the forest floor. Word. Does that look okay? I can't see it, so I'm trusting you guys to tell me if it looks okay. Alright, so now let's add the witchy bit. Now let's add in a little bit of knot magic to this. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some black, this is suede, but you can use regular thread. I just wanted suede because I want to add to like that earthy, fairy, floor, random colors of nonsense vibe that I'm going with because I really like color, even though I wear black all the time. I really do like color. Color magic is so important, especially like in your clothes and in your hair. But I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the loop going underneath. This is so hard doing it, holding it up. I need to get a new tripod. That way I could angle it down so I could do like regular straight down shot because mine broke. Alright, so before we pull this knot all the way shut, we're going to think of our intention. You could say it out loud, and you're going to blow into it as you're tightening the knot and pulling it stuck. This is going to count as our first knot. Now, there is a very common chant that a lot of people do for their knot work. By knot of 1, my spell is begun. By knot of 2, it cometh true. Or like it goes to you if you're doing it for another person. By knot of 3, it comes to me, or it comes to thee, or it comes to be. By knot of 4, I open the door. It's traditional for most people to do 9 knots because, again, that is number of protection, Saturn, as well. It's like folklore beliefs for being protection. But you could do how many knots you feel comfortable with, but you're going to think of your intention or even just capture your breath. If you just want to just keep your energy close to you, you can just capture your breath and just blow into it as you snap the knot shut, just like... See, it's a nice little tight knot now. And then this is simple. You could either wrap it around, and each time that it crosses itself, you could repeat your intention, or just focus as each time that you're wrapping it. Like if you decide to twist and wrap it, this is so hard doing it, holding it up. But if you're doing it that way, like twist, open, go around, twist. I can't do it holding it up. But so it does that crisscross. Each time you're doing that, picture you're holding your energy to yourself. You're putting on a piece of armor. Nothing can hurt you. Nothing could get in there. Not that anything would, hurt you anyway. But still, like that safe feeling, that barrier, that protection. You're putting up that barrier at the same time you're keeping your energy close. I hope this is making sense. I really hope this is making sense. I, got out of work. It is, I think like 2 in the morning right now. Around midnight is when I decided to get this idea. Then I had to dig everything out, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to make it into a video. So then that took even longer. So I don't know if I'm making sense. All right, so I wrapped it all the way around. I added a little Aquarius charm onto the rope. I did those twists. So now when we tie it off on the bottom, we're going to do 9 knots. So we could do the very basic, chant where it's like knot of 1, my spell's begun, knot of 2. I could put it up on screen, but each time that you make the knot, you're going to blow into it. So since I'm going to be saying my intention out loud, and this one's a personal one for me, I'm going to put up the basic chant that I was just talking about on screen. So what you would do is you would state your intention for what your purpose is. If you're like, for protection, for energy draining, for giving me energy, for making me feel whimsical, for my sad inner child days, anything that you're doing like that, you would say that intention, and you would just do a regular knot, like the over under knot, and then right before you snap it close, you say your intention, breathe into it, and then snap it. So I'm going to edit out my intention. See, I pulled it tight, and then we're going to be doing the same thing over and over again, 9 times. We did the 9. I'm just adding a little charm at the bottom. Oh, it's so hard trying to hold it up like this. Whoa! Because this side I have purple. The purple into the red. Well, into the magenta, into the red, and then into the pink. So. I'm gonna put in a quick video clip right now of me actually styling my hair and wearing the ivy bits. And you tell me what it looks like. Does this look good? Does it look cute? And then they're little witchcraft charms and no one could ever tell. And there's something that you could easily put on and off when you're about to leave the house and no one will ever know. No one's going to know that there's little sigils in your pieces of ivy. No one's going to know that you put little breathwork and knots into your little braided hair pieces. You can use the colors and use it for color magic to mean certain things. Mine is I chose the blues and the purples for communication, like or my crown chakra and my third eye and the spirits, and then green as in the groundings. I had other pieces of yarn, but that's why I chose those. Plus, I love the colors anyway. And then my little nature bits and little things. So I have like wood here to like represent the earth, and I have crystals, and I have my zodiac sign in here, well, my sun sign, and little fern piece of nature, the piece of dyed howlite. You'd always tell dyed howlite from turquoise because dyed howlite has the brown veins in it, like normal howlite, and turquoise doesn't look like this. This is not what turquoise looks like. Actually, I have turquoise. This is what real turquoise looks like. That's real turquoise. I don't know if that's in focus. That's real turquoise. And that's real turquoise. This is dyed howlite. But yeah, because you could do this into a bracelet if you didn't want to do it into like a hair bit. Same with like the little ivy pieces. You could make them into like little tokens and keep them in your pocket or keep them in your wallet. Like I said, the hole puncher, put them through your shoes and your shoelaces. Like I have Luna moth wings that I put on my shoelaces. A lot of my shoes have wings on them. Or you could do this like a little charm again on your shoes. I love putting sigils. Like I showed you before, all the bottoms of my shoes have different sigils on. But yeah, quick little tips to do arts and crafty things and have cool accessories, but also have them have a purpose. And that way they're nice and hidden. No one will ever be the wiser. Don't forget afterwards to anoint your leaves. You know, you can put the oil and whatnot on them. I did that off camera without realizing it because like I said, now it's 2:47 in the morning. So I gotta go to bed. I got all excited because I was like, I don't have work tomorrow. And now I'm just going to spend the whole day sleeping. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you. I don't even know if like any of you guys could use this or whatnot, or if you wanted to make it as a gift for somebody else. I just wanted to share some witchcrafting things that I was doing. Anyway, I hope you're having a great middle of the night for me, or morning, middle of the morning, but afternoon, evening, energy based on whatever time it is that you are watching this. And I really, truly hope that good things happen to you. Good night.